Hey everyone, so this is my review of Manifest, Season 1, Episode 6, called Off Radar, and essentially what this episode is about is that Kel wakes up with a life-threatening fever, and while it's going on, Ben and Michaela look into the missing Flight 828 passengers, and while doing that, they sort of discover that they're in for more than what they bargained for. And this was a really interesting episode that definitely had a lot of really good moments to it, and really it did a nice job of finally sort of setting up for a bunch of major plot lines to come. And I'm really excited to sort of see how all that's going to turn out in the future episodes. And everything with Cal in this episode was interesting, with him sort of being almost like mentally and physically connected to other pastors, and more so specifically one pastor. That is one of the pastors that have gone missing since the plane landed. And how all that played out and stuff for Cal and for Grace in this episode was interesting, with Cal having these random seizures and random sort of effects and stuff that were linked back to whenever this other pastor was being experimented on. And I found that all very interesting with how it all played out, and I'm very curious to see if Cal has that sort of same or similar connection to other pastors, or what's going to happen to him in the future as this missing pastor keeps getting experimented on, and if these scientists and stuff that are experimenting on him are eventually going to figure out his linkage to Cal, and maybe that's why this pastor has such a resilience to whatever these people are experimenting on him with. I enjoyed everything with Grace and Ben and their sort of conflict and stuff, where Grace brings up how Ben's actions in the past whenever something bad happened to Cal was for Ben to sort of figure out all of the possible solutions and stuff to what could be affecting Ben, or affecting Cal. And Grace feels that that's what Ben's doing now. And I found that interesting with how she sort of chose to show and chose to do all that. Especially with Ben finally revealing in this episode what's going on with him and going on with Michaela and going on with Cal and stuff since they've gotten back, and like them hearing the voices and seeing the visions and stuff like that, and Grace choosing to sort of put that off as Ben trying to come up with a solution to help Cal that isn't medically sound and stuff. And I just enjoyed how all that sort of played out. Especially when Ben finally did leave to try and save Cal, but Grace sort of taking it and seeing it as Ben abandoning Cal in his time of need. And I also enjoyed the sort of decision that Grace had to make, where she had to decide whether or not to give antibiotics to Cal, and in doing so she would essentially take Cal out of his cancer treatment research that he's a part of. And how all that eventually worked out was interesting to see, especially with how Snobby sort of played into that. Then everything with Jared and Michaela was interesting, with Jared continuing to try and get Michaela to give some answers as to sort of what's been going on with her, and her still refusing to give it to him up front, but then her having to go to him for help to look into these missing passengers and stuff. And eventually her having to share the truth of what's been going on with her and all her actions and stuff to him. And sort of how he took that and stuff. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with their relationship going forward, and if he's eventually going to give all this information to the detective looking into Flight 828 and stuff. And I'm just very interested to see how all that's going to play out for them going forward. And then I just enjoyed seeing their sort of dynamic going back and forth as they're looking into this mysterious building where all these missing pastors went to and stuff, and how it's like this weird sort of black site area. And I just really enjoyed how all those sort of scenes played out between Michaela and Jared. And then Ben confronting Director Vance was really interesting with what it all revealed on sort of all the different sides and stuff. Where for Ben it revealed that Director Vance might know more than what he's sort of leading on, and how Vance is sort of fishing for information out of Ben, and Ben sort of navigating around trying to figure out what he should and shouldn't reveal and stuff, and what he does reveal could possibly threaten him and his family and stuff. And then with Director Vance and stuff, it revealed that there are some stuff that the other pastors are hiding from him and stuff, but then there's also stuff that other agencies and other departments within the government are sort of hiding from him. And that I found very interesting with how all those scenes and stuff sort of played out for Director Vance, and him eventually going and figuring out and finding this black site and stuff, and him sort of working to try and figure out what everyone else is hiding from him and stuff on all sides, both the government side and the pastor side and stuff. And I'm just really, really excited and curious to see what's going to happen with Director Vance going forward, looking into these missing pastors as well. And then just overall, this was a really, really exciting and good episode that was so much fun to watch. And I'm just really, really curious and excited to see what's going to happen going forward, looking into these missing pastors and what's going on with them and the experiments and stuff. And just, yeah, that's my review of Manifest Season 1, Episode 6, called Off Radar. So, yeah.